museum of these gems and make a clean getaway. It will be the heist of a century. But first, they've got to put the 5 real leaguers in the society's bodies on ice. And so somehow Green Lantern is able to create this giant diamond construct, which is not green at all, but it's way more powerful than that stasis cube. And the 5 villain bodies, housing the minds of the 5 leaguers, is shot up into space, which gets Green Arrow suspicious again. And he says to Superman, isn't this going a bit far? Let's imprison these guys, yeah, but what are you going to do? Throw them into the sun? And the wizard, as Superman says, no, I'm not going to go that far. But, there's precedent for this, Ollie. And indeed, there is precedent. At the end of the very first JLA-JSA team-up, the JLA and JSA placed the members of the Crime Syndicate of America in a bubble and cast them off into the cosmos with a giant do not disturb sign. But still, Green Arrow is very suspicious, to the point where even the wizard is cluing in, saying, yeah, I've got to keep an eye on this guy. But the Justice Leaguers are cast off into space. Fortunately, Zatanna is able to get the will and the means to go back to the JLA satellite. She revives Red Tornado, and she learns from the previous issue's mistake where she reasons with Red Tornado, and he hears her out and he realizes, yes, this is my friend. So with his body restored, he's able to help her break the true Justice Leaguers out of that diamond construct, and they head back to Earth. Meanwhile, the society ends up defeating itself, thanks to the egotism of the Reverse Flash in Hal Jordan's body. He makes a pass at Black Canary, and she sounds the warning bell that all is not as it seems. And certainly, Eobarthon comes off as a fool in this, because he should have realized that this was following the whole Daniel Neal Adams period, which Green Lantern and Green Arrow were traveling across the country, fighting different social injustices, with Black Canary coming around with them. Black Canary being the longtime girlfriend of Green Arrow. And even though Hal, even in this time, was a ladies' man, it was still enough that he would look at Black Canary and say, okay, this is my best friend's girlfriend. This guy is like a brother to me. I'm not going to make any moves on her. I'm going to respect her as a woman, as a fellow Justice League member. I could never have any feelings for her that weren't platonic. And so the fact that Hal's trying to kiss her here, good on Black Canary for realizing, okay, this isn't Hal being a jerk. This is someone else in Hal's body. And so together with the real leaguers still in the bodies of the society members, they take down the 5 society villains. Back at JLA headquarters, Zatanna uses the mystical elements of the Wizard's Gauntlet to undo the spell, and the bodies are restored. And at the end of the story, we get the sense that no major harm has been done as a result of this. There's no implication that while they were in the bodies of the heroes, the Secret Society members tried hacking the JLA computers to learn the heroes' true identities. But now, to tie this in to Identity Crisis by Morales and Meltzer in 2003-2004, we have to go back to that panel on the final page of issue 167, where on one side we see Green Arrow, Black Canary, Elongated Man, Barry Allen Flash, and Hawkman. That's your league within the league that was depicted by Meltzer and Morales in Identity Crisis. And in Identity Crisis, the main storyline was the whodunit, the murder mystery. Who was it who killed Sue Dibney? Who was the one who had gained knowledge about the heroes' identities as well as the identities of their loved ones? But a major revelation that came out of Identity Crisis was that years earlier in the Justice League's history, Dr. Light had come on board the JLA satellite at a time when he knew Sue Dibney was alone, and he raped her. And a group of Justice Leaguers returned about a few minutes too late, saw what had been done, and quickly set about deciding what to do with Dr. Light. With Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and Black Canary deciding that Dr. Light should be thrown away in jail. He's thrown away for good. Whereas Hawkman and Adam and Zatanna wanted to take more extreme measures and basically lobotomize Dr. Light. Zatanna was willing to use her magic to cast a spell that would alter Dr. Light's mind such that he would become the clodding idiot that he was, who was often cannon fodder for the Teen Titans. And in this revelation, it was revealed that Batman came back to the satellite, seeing what was going on, intervened, saw this as being an immoral act, and he was taken down by the Leaguers, who then mind-wiped him so that he forgot what happened. And then in explaining this and revealing all of this to the then current Flash and Green Lantern, Wally West and Kyle Rayner, Green Arrow explained that this wasn't the first time they psychically lobotomized villains. There were other times when the League's identities were compromised, the safety of their loved ones was compromised, and so they did have other villains mind wiped. And in one of the art panels, we get a callback here to the body swapping storyline by Conway, Dillon, and McLaughlin. And Morales in an interview said it was this final page in issue 167, which made him say, oh yeah, okay, here's this league within the league. Now, of course, thanks to the reality-altering effects of Crisis on Infinite Earths, it was explained that Black Canary was the one who swapped bodies with Floronic Man. Also, we don't see Ray Palmer, the Atom, here, but he would be added to Identity Crisis. Ralph Dibny here appears with the League within the League in this panel in issue 167. But of course, they didn't want Ralph to have his career tarnished. So in Identity Crisis, it was explained that Ralph actually wasn't privy to this. He had enough to deal with his wife having been attacked. But the implication in Identity Crisis, is that the villains actually did take the time to hack the JLA computers and to learn the identities of all of the Justice Leaguers. So kudos to Mr. Meltzer and Morales for taking a fondly remembered Justice League story from the pre-crisis era and folding it in to post-crisis / pre-Flashpoint history. And just to extend this further and to give another shout out to JLA artist Dick Dillon, think of the J'Accuse storyline, which came out sometime later. Even though that story had a rather dissatisfying conclusion to it and wasn't properly followed up until Ostrander and Mandrake's run on the Spectre, the art in that two-parter was brilliant. And I think of the scene in which the Justice League and Justice Society members are in the satellite. It's on lockdown, and they're all getting tense with each other, saying, well, are you accusing me? Are you accusing me? And Batman's just standing there. And he's got this look on his face, and you can tell he's observing everyone in the room. And it's not just an angry, stoic look he's got on his face. Dick Dillon just poured so much detail into it. And when I look at that panel, I think, yeah, you can incorporate identity crisis into this particular panel. What we're seeing is a Batman who's seeing this fighting going on between people who are normally friends. There's suspicions about what's happened, and he's beginning to tap into the fact that something happened in the past where there was discord within the league, a division, and something happened to him. He can't put his finger on it. He's been mind-wiped to the point where any knowledge he has of the past is purely on a subconscious level, but being Batman, he's fighting it. And it's just a brilliant piece of art by Dillon. Of course, he had no idea that Identity Crisis would be drawn or would be published years later, but just so fun when you can take this story, tie it into Identity Crisis, and then tie it into another great Bronze Age story with incredible art by one of my all-time favorite Bronze Age artists. Oof, that's what I love about issue 167 of JLA, folks. If you haven't read the story before, give it a read. This is the very first time I read the story. It took me so long to get around to reading it. And so, Jason, thanks to you for inspiring this episode, inspiring me to read a most memorable story. Okay, so in closing, folks, I'll get back on the airwaves as soon as I can. But if several weeks or even months pass, I'm not intending on pod fading. I want to keep the lights on and want to keep things going because it's just such a wonderful thing being able to share my thoughts on comics from yesteryear with you. Again, feel free to check out the Comics in History Facebook page. It'd be so nice to update it again for a change. Love to receive a message at my Gmail address, comicsinhistory@gmail.com. Until episode 133 and whatever I choose to examine in that particular issue comes your way, this class is dismissed.